Millions of black people follow the Bible. What does the Bible say about spells and charms as well as fetishes? Some will use the Torah and others other scriptures. For example, in Isaiah 47, 9-14, the word enchantments in the passage is the idea of using charms. It's condemned. In the Torah, it is condemned. Yet, we realize that the priest or the high priest wears a breastplate. And there are many other clothing and uniforms associated with him, and incense and all these regalia. Is prayer not an enchantment? Is laying of hands to heal not a part of a fetish? Paul's handkerchief healed a lot of people. What about retso, an African cloth that is used by traditional healers? Is all that evil? Cast your spells, fetishes, charms, and amulets, a practice condemned by Christians, Muslims, and Jews, who, on the other hand, cast their own spells. Facts. Fetishes, amulets, charms, talisman, totems, and spells, are they really evil? Are you wearing any of these today? If yes, well and good. If no, why not? For instance, take an example. You can see he's a bald head. He has removed all his hair. We have got religions that encourage people to remove all their hair and remain bald-headed. And we've got this afro. And the question then is, do we understand that the hair is a receptor of frequencies? The English word has the clue to that. You look at this word hair, there is air there, which means it's something that is in the air. And the H is a ladder, which means it's something that descends, that comes down from other frequencies. It symbolizes H symbolizes a ladder, and the air is the zone where frequencies travel. The hair signals any dangers in advance. Cutting it greatly impacts your abilities to utilize extrasensory perception, or changing it disconnects you from your natural self. If you have your hair, you get goosebumps when you are receiving high frequency energies. But religions treat hair in a different manner, except Rastafarians and many others. Natural powers compels the idea of force, hidden forces. To portray these natural powers and their forces, our ancient African ancestors called them gods and goddesses as well. They also were portrayed as superhuman powers by means of living superhuman types. The popular noun is nature or neteru, from which the word natural emanates. Nature or powers later became divinities. The ignorant planted darkness. How did they do that? An ignorant explanation of ancient Egyptian sign language was begun by the Greeks, who could not read the hieroglyphics. It was repeated by the Romans and the Greeks and perpetuated by classical scholars ever since. They heard a story about a long-tailed ape which was found in our temples, the one that we are showing here. But even though they were given an explanation about this, they didn't realize that the ape represents Ani, the name of the particular ape. The ape or Cynophilus, with its paws uplifted like this, is a gesture of adoration. It's a gesture of interfering your life in certain frequencies to absorb and to attract certain forces as a saluter, like light or wisdom or other energies. It was and still is looked upon in ancient Africa as a general human moon worshipper. When we look at the moon, when we want to know our times in Africa, we normally have to use the app, the noises they make. We know the moon has set, for we know that it laments and bewails the disappearance of this night light for it, and rejoices when the renewal and the return of the moon comes on. You can read Horapolo B1. The common name for God, as we have already seen, is Neta or nature, with the plural neteru, or symbolized in this in hieroglyphics, or that. But we find that the male ones are like hawks, like this, and even the female are like this. And we see these all are the symbols for the neta. We continue to explore this and also say that the Orthodox authorities posit the idea that man created God in his image. This is a fallacy. The netas like Shata, Sabeke, and Shu, or hippopotamus, the crocodile, or the lion, even Hapi, the river Nile, were imagined not as representing anything else other than superhuman powers being used by the supreme and the greatest of all. Ancient Africans realized earlier that they were natural powers which ran and operated in the universe. We know them as the laws of creation. That these powers emanated from one supreme source. Thus, the idea that anyone can easily access that source or creator is totally pagan. It's impossible. You can't. You can try, but you won't. You go through these laws because the sum total of natures equals what you would call God today. And in action and in their activities. Thus, it is clear that we have to know how to use the laws that pertains to these natures is to access power, to understand, to gain wisdom, to light up our inner divine spark. These are some of the tools used to access and to be in conjunction with the natures. You shall see how fashion and technology has actually followed the pathway crafted by our ancient ancestors. Misapprehending these primitive facts, language is what has been designated by Christianity, Islam, and others as idolatry, as sun worship, serpent worship, tree worship, or phallic worship. It was use of these to access powers. It's just like you carrying your mobile phone and we call you are worshipping your mobile phone. You are not worshipping your mobile phone. You are using your mobile phone. You use it. Unless, of course, you idolize it. The ancient accepted that they were forces, but also are invisible, etheric counterpart to our body, the ha, and all these depict the teaching that the kingdom of heaven is within us. That's all what it stands for. So what are facts? Facts stands for fetish, amulets, charms, talisman, totems, and spells. You have to capture this word. Facts is what we should live by. Fetishism has been classified as the primary universal religion of mankind. It has also been called the very last corruption of religion. Max Muller, Natural Religion, page 196. Writer Berossos, around 1760, coined the word fetish. It is said to be derived from a root which yields our word faith, feitico, in Portuguese, is the name for an amulet, a talisman, or magical charm. The word would seem to have been adopted in West Africa and other places in Africa, called now juju, enquizi, or mokiso, or mbashto. We look at this and say, Christians mock Africans as pagan. But if you wear a wedding ring, listen to this now. Fetish gives the associated modern Christian wedding rings its power. The Irish word is fede, an ancient Irish wedding ring in the shape of two hands clasped together. It was called fede. This too was a fetish, a sign of fidelity or faithfulness. So you can't laugh at us when we wear our rings this way. When you laugh at us when we wear our talismans this way. Fetish is an object, typically an inscribed ring or a stone, or any item that is thought to have magical powers or to bring a certain energy. The fetishes includes all the things that we have listed. Amulets or talismans. This can be used to attract love, life, health, look beautiful, look nice, protect you and deliver you from opposing dark forces. What about charms? Or any of the tools that we used to wear? There is a lot of explanation and magic used for that. This was actually used for family control systems in ancient Africa. There is an explanation, clear cut. It is fashionable, and there is, if you look in the Kabbalah system, they now insist that you should wear red clothes. The Latin word chamen, song, verse, or incantations, gave the old French chamer or chamar, which is charm. What is charm? It's an incantation or magic spell. That's English for you. So this is what we have been showing. So these are totems that we have dealt with. This is Banam Kanya, Panasokum Kanya. They represent certain forces. This is Otube, and this is the same Otube. They represent certain powers and certain understanding. What about spells? Smart spell. Spirits allow me to absorb them through the touch of either hand or understand the meaning of all words from here or from heaven. Spell is the word spell. Here's how it is spelled. Definition of a magic: the practice of using charms or spells or rituals to attempt to produce supernatural events which comes from superhuman powers, straightforward, and these are accessing that frequency of in the air with power, with the force. There we are. Power of touch. This is a holy rosary for Christians, yet they laugh at Africans who wear pendants and various other items. There it is again. We see that as a cross wearing today. Ancient Egyptian word sa variously is illustrated in means protection, backing, defense, virtue, soul, efficacy. An earlier form of the word is ka. There was a divinity named Sau or Ka, who was the god of fetish, enabled by amulets, charms, knots, skins, and other things that were worn, or types of protective power. So the word Sa also signifies touch, thus protecting power appealed to as the god of fetish, the god of touch. So we know that touch is used in prayer, in healing, in magic, because why would you touch? It is to transmit power. It's to swipe power. So look at this other instrument that was used. This was the instrument that Elijah used. Because he said, bring me a minstrel. And it came to pass when a minstrel played that the hand of the Lord came upon him to touch him. So he used the mbira to invoke the spirit, to bring the spirit. So you cannot stand today and say Africans should not use music to invoke spirits. There is in the Bible. It's 2 Kings 3:15. Read that scripture. He used the mbira to bring. He was a prophet, for he was also the spirit, but he had to use a tool, an amulet, a charm, an instrument to bring the spirit of God upon him. So in Christianity, the laying on of hands, Greek kairotonia, literally laying on of hands, is both a symbolic as well as formal method of invoking the Holy Spirit, primarily during baptisms and confirmations, healing services, blessings, and ordination of priests, ministers, elders, deacons, and other church officials. You can say there is a TD Jakes. Someone is touching him and heal and causing the stretching hands to touch him. Why are they doing this? This is a fetish. You can't condemn that. We also continue to show you Jewish Islamic fetishes who condemn Africans. This is tzitzit. Reso, what I have shown here. There is which is worn, 8 threads and beads. And there is what you wear on the forehead. And there is the holy place in Mecca. So you cannot stand and understand why they say that. What about fashion followers? Millions of black people who follow the Bible condemn Africans for fetishes, and they don't do these fetishes, but yet they are engaged in fashion. So when you look at the term Wi-Fi, is a short word for wireless fidelity. That word fede, fetish, comes again. This is fashion, this is our design, and these are logos on this, and are representatives of fetishes. All these are transmitters or receivers of energies. This is the hand transmitting power. This is a watch. These are all fetishes, but they are modern. They use the wave, all this. So you cannot escape from this truth. You have to learn, and should learn, to cast African spells, engage in fetishes and charms. That's not evil. Our ancestors wore charms, oduma, theve, zingo, talismans. Why? Because these acted as powerful receivers of certain life energies. They also put these on the bodies of the dead. Today we put the Bible and insert a cross on the grave. Why would you do that? It is the same idea, the same philosophy of knowing that there is a realm of spirit, a realm of life in certain frequencies. It's just like a radio. It's just like a receiver. You cannot ignore these. These are tools. You don't worship these tools. You use these tools. There is a vast difference. You worship only the Creator and use these tools. We have been programmed to either wear Christian pendants or Jewish tzitzit. Those behind fashion use similar principles that invoke frequencies and bring messages. The things book religions condemn, they do. They practice 100%. It is time for us to enter into a revisionism process and seriously rethink about these things. Thank you. This is Priest Teacher Rabbi LM Tumizulo of Amity Hebrew Ethics. Our email is shown here. Contact us and let us rebuild this nation together. Subscribe to this channel and share this message. Goodbye.